The coding system for PRECIS is rather complex and fairly difficult to summarize adequately. I will, however, try to explain several of the basic rules so that you can at least understand how the coding for our example was arrived at. The 103 field is used for lead terms, such as jazz instrumentalists and women in our example. The 003 field is used for terms that are not to lead, such as 20th century in our example. The first position letter denotes a term's position in a coordinate theme, with X signifying its status as a first element in a coordinate theme, Y denoting its status as a subsequent element in a coordinate theme, and Z denoting its status as an element common to all themes and not distinct to a single one, such as all three are in this case. Ninth position reflects a term's status as a common or proper noun. Common nouns are assigned a value of A. Proper nouns, i.e. names, are assigned a value of C, unless they are place names, in which case they are assigned a value of D. In the example, both jazz instrumentalists and women qualify as A, while the 20th century, as a specific name of an epoch, qualifies as C. As you can see in the example, women has an additional field containing as with a W notation. The as is a connective, which is a term to be inserted into entries to make them read more clearly. The W denotes that it is an upward reading connective, which means that it is only inserted in entries wherein the term that follows women is listed above it in the string, which in this case creates the construction of women as jazz instrumentalists on the other one hand, and women 20th century on the other. A downward reading connective is denoted by a V. Notice that in the example jazz instrumentalists, the term is represented as instrumentalists with jazz as a subfield with a 21 notation. This is due to the PRECIS system of differencing, which allows terms to relate to a wider term that encompasses them, or to look at it in the other way, which allows terms to relate to modifying words that narrow the term's focus. This allows for entries to be built using both generalized and specific concepts without unnecessarily redundant terms. In this case, the term is the basis for both the entry beginning instrumentalists and the one beginning with jazz instrumentalists. The two-digit notation is built from a primary digit, which reflects the term's lead status and whether a space is left between the two parts of the term, i.e. yes for hair dye, no for haircut, and a secondary digit that denotes the level of distance between the modifying word and the word it modifies. In the case of jazz, part of a leading term with a space between the two words and being positioned directly next to the word it is modifying, instrumentalist, the notation is 21. The terms are converted into this coded form and entered into the computer. The computer develops index entries based on the strings and tagging and locates any appropriate C and C also references from the thesaurus. If there is not a computer involved in the process at a particular institution, the indexer must manually determine the index entries based on the strings and tags. The thesaurus is built during the indexing process by an indexer or a group of indexers who input entries into the computer gradually. The thesaurus entries keep track of three types of relationships: hierarchical, i.e. generic or whole part, specific structures and systems; associative, which is function-based and in most cases; and equivalence, which is synonyms and the like.